What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we have a little bit of a problem, and that problem has to do with our economy. Right now we're being told that the economy is strong, things are good, but yet there's a lot of signs that our economy is not strong. There's still some major problems that have come up over the past few months. Well, one of those, and we addressed this yesterday, that mask mandates are now starting to come back as we see additional hospitalizations. That's one problem. The other problem is what the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said just this morning. I want to address this. For the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell calls inflation too high and warns that we are prepared to raise rates further. And then let's address the key points because these are extremely important. It says, while acknowledging that progress has been made, the central bank leader said inflation is still above where policymakers feel comfortable. Right now, policymakers want to see it at 2%. We're currently sitting at 3.2%, a little bit high. But that 1.2%, to get it to come down, we are going to have to make massive changes. And that could mean raising rates even further. It goes on to say the speech resembled remarks Powell made last year at Jackson Hole, during which he warned that some pain was likely as the Fed continues its efforts to pull runaway inflation back down to its 2% goal. I think we can all agree we've experienced more than just some pain over the past year. There's been a lot of pain. Then it goes on to say a strong economy and decelerating inflation also gives the Fed room to proceed carefully at upcoming meetings. That's true. The Federal Reserve has the ability, because the economy is still somewhat strong in certain spots, it's still doing well. We don't have high unemployment. Okay, that's good. We don't have homelessness isn't just going through the roof. That's good. We still have an abundance of available jobs. So that's good. Okay, wages are going up. Another good thing. But the bad part is what comes after all those things. Now, I want to show you something. This is actually from yesterday. I didn't address this yesterday. I wanted to address it today. But, and I just talked about this, we don't have a massive amount of unemployment. However, if the Fed continues to raise rates, it's going to put more pressure on businesses. Look at this. T-Mobile is actually going to lay off about 7% of their workforce, or 5,000 employees. 5,000 employees over the next couple of weeks. That's a massive amount of people that are going to be losing their jobs. Now, keep in mind, people lose their jobs every single day. There's hundreds or thousands of people every single day that are losing their job. And it doesn't matter if you're in a great economy or one that is not so good. People still lose their jobs. But when a company is going to lay off 7% of their workforce or 5,000 employees, that's a big number. That's a big layoff all at once. Now, I do want to talk about something else. Because what the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is talking about is he's talking about what we could do. How we could potentially bring down inflation even further. I want to read you something from him. It says, although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high. He goes on to say, we are prepared to raise rates further if appropriate and intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we are confident that inflation is moving sustainably down towards our objective. That's good. The objective is 2%. Now, I do want to read you one other thing. Okay? And it says, the lower monthly readings for core inflation in June and July were welcome. But 2 months of good data are only the beginning of what it will take to build confidence that inflation is moving down sustainably towards our goal. Now, I bring this up because he's talking about just 2 months of good data. That's it, right? And so yes, it's a start, but it's not exactly what we need. It's just the beginning of everything. And I bring this up because what we're hearing right now is lawmakers are pushing for additional relief. Okay? They want to see more for the American people. They want to see more for people on Social Security, more for people on SNAP benefits, more for struggling households. That's what they want to see. And so what I can tell you is that if we see additional bonuses, if we see additional boosts in Social Security or Medicaid or more for SNAP benefits, it's likely going to cause an increase in inflation, more upward pressure. Look at this. This is a report from Fox News. It says Biden's food stamp expansion linked to a 15% jump in grocery prices, according to a study. Now, I just want to be very clear on something. Like, Fox News, they're not big fans of President Biden. I think we know that. Okay? But the study, this report that came out, it does show that yes, if we were getting an additional $95 per month, and on top of that, that was maximum benefits for years, that did cause additional inflation. And it says about 15% rise in grocery prices. Okay? Now, one thing I can tell you is that we have seen SNAP benefits. They've expanded by about 25% from the pre-COVID levels. Okay? Just keep that in mind. It also goes on to say that for one, we've spent a lot of money on SNAP. SNAP is not something that is funded by a certain tax. That's something that the federal government comes out and they determine how much money is going to go to SNAP every single year. Well, moving forward, and this is why I bring this up, because we need to cut back on certain things. If not, we could see additional inflation. And if we see additional inflation, it would mean additional rate hikes, and we could actually see more people get laid off. But the reason why I bring all this up right now is because what we have to do by the end of September, so we've got a little bit over 1 month, we have to figure out how we can come to an agreement on the 2024 appropriations bills. Those are the 12 bills that make up the federal spending. Now, what we are currently going through is certain lawmakers are discussing this and trying to reach an agreement. We got the House, the GOP caucus in the House. They are trying to figure out a way to make sure their demands are met. And if they're not, they are saying that Speaker Kevin McCarthy could be on his way out. He could lose his speakership if he doesn't demand what they're asking. Okay? And it's a fairly large group. So what could happen is we could actually see SNAP benefits see a little bit of an uptick. More money go to SNAP benefits because that is what, not the GOP wants, that's what Democrats want. And if the GOP is going to get something on their side, Democrats are going to get something that they are asking for as well. But if we see this happen, there's a chance, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance we could see an uptick in inflation. Okay? And if we see additional inflation, again, we are going to see the Federal Reserve raise rates. But at the same time, I just want you to be aware of what's happening within our households and our economy. That is this. Household debt is at an all-time high. However, 2008 was still worse. And I'll explain why this report is saying this. Okay? What we know is that in 2008, the amount of debt that we had, and then we factor in inflation, it's actually worse in 2008 than it is today. All right? And it's worse because of a couple things. Number one, it's worse because deposits are up. We have more savings. Okay? Now, why do we have more savings today than we did back in 2008? And why, if we have savings today, why are we still struggling? Well, according to multiple reports, the reason why there's additional savings is likely due to the amount of people that pulled money out of the markets. They maybe sold a home and they're sitting on cash and they don't want to put it into the stock market. And who would? It's pretty volatile, right? So that could be another reason. If the everyday person, everyday household isn't putting their money into the markets because they're worried about it going down, well, that's concerning. So they're holding this money in savings and makes it look like we have a lot of money just sitting there on the sideline waiting to be deployed. Well, that's not necessarily the case. We may just pulled it out, sitting on that money for now, and then we'll put it back in the market when we feel it is somewhat safe. Okay? And again, if that's the way things are right now, that doesn't mean we're really doing better than we were in 2008. Now, I think we are, because we have so much equity in our homes if you do have a home, but we overpaid for cars. We have too much credit card debt. There's student loan debt, which is through the roof. There's a lot of problems here. And student loan debt, just for one, those payments start, interest starts in the next, 6-7 days, and then payments start at the beginning of October. But I want to show you this. Look at this right here. It says, we can't pay. A growing wave of student loan borrowers are likely to refuse to resume repayment in October. This is according to a new survey. And here's why many are on the brink of a boycott. We could go through this entire article. We could read it. I just want to kind of highlight what's happening here. It says, okay, I want to show you this. Let's see. It says right here, okay, just a couple different people. It says, are we not paying? The collective as a whole, meaning if you put a payment down, you are breaking, you're crossing the line. Then it goes on to say, how are we going to move? Because we can't keep getting away with this stuff if we don't pay. Or they can't keep getting away with this stuff if we don't pay. They're the ones who are going to suffer, not us. Now, the reason why they're doing this, and according to the survey, it says half, so 50% of the respondents believe a boycott could lead to total debt forgiveness. That's the reason why. So you're probably going to see a lot of people over the next 6 months just kind of applauding themselves for not making a payment, for getting behind on their student loan payments, right? But the reason for this, the plan, is if everybody gets behind, nobody makes a payment, that the Biden administration has to do more, and that could mean total debt forgiveness. That's the plan. Now, whether it's a good plan or not, I don't know, but it is a plan, and it's possibly a problem. So, we are seeing that the economy is taking a turn, maybe a turn for the worse, maybe the better. We don't know. We will find out very soon. As we get more information, I promise I'll come back on. I will share all the latest news and updates. All you got to do, 2 things. Hit that like button, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one.